Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Q&A video with Sue and the Arcturians. And before we get started, Sue, do you want to explain really quickly to your listeners today how your channeling process works for you?
Well, when I first started, I was told inside to create a place, the same time in the same place, and going to that same time at that same place, it builds an energy field. And it actually did, because other people would come in and they'd go into that room and they'd want to sit in the chair that I sat in. And then I was told to write it down. And it's very important to write it down or to type it out or to document it, put it into recording. Because when you receive higher frequency information, it's pretty difficult for your 3D brain to really hold on to it. But I do get a little incoming, So like if I'm going someplace, so I'll get like an incoming, and I'll go, oh yeah, I got to run down and write this down. And when one says, okay, I volunteer, I'll be a channel for this higher frequency of information, then that's an obligation that, you take serious.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for explaining a little bit about how that process works, because I know a lot of people are really curious about that as they start to open up to that themselves. And speaking of channeling, I am going to go ahead and give you an opportunity here to call in the Arcturians, and we can start asking some questions. So if you'd like to, go ahead and begin.
Okay, so I'll just give an example to the listeners. I'm just taking a moment, same time, same place where I usually channel, and sitting with my back straight and opening up my crown chakra, the soft spot in your head, that's your crown chakra, and just allowing that energy to come in through the crown chakra and to move down through my spinal cord and then down through my feet and through my legs and then through my feet and into Gaia, because it's not to us but through us. And Gaia really needs to communicate with humanity. And what happens as we take these energy fields and we pull them from the higher frequencies of reality and the higher planets that are resonating to the 5th, 6th, 7th higher dimensions, and we pull that energy in through our crown and down through our spinal cord, out through our feet, and then put it all the way into the core of the planet. All right, so just like I said, spine straight, head up, feet on the ground, hands in your lap, or you can fold them. And just take a in-breath, 1, 2, 3, hold twice as long out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, in-breath, 1, 2, 3, 4, out-breath, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We are the Arcturians, and our home world is the planet Arcturus, and we have sent many of our beings to Earth because Earth has had some very difficult times. Gaia reaches out and she calls to us, the Arcturians. Now, we, the Arcturians, were amongst the first galactic beings to actually come to the planet Earth and to realize that this was a planet that was alive, that it was a living planet, and that it was a planet in which third dimensional beings would be able to live and to thrive. And so we, the Arcturians, we went back up into our starships and had we have galactic meetings where the Arcturians, the Pleiadians gather together to assist the planet Earth. So we began to have those meetings, and when we had those meetings, we would look down into the humans, the third dimensionals, and many of these third dimensional beings that were on Earth were our family members. And our fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth dimensional family members saw that the planet Gaia was having a difficult time and she needed assistance. There were humans and human-like beings that had come to the planet, and they had mullied the water and taken away where things could grow and done a lot of destruction. And so Gaia called out and said, please assist us. When we get an instruction or a call for help, then we go into our own higher dimensional self and we look upon what is happening in the area that asked for assistance. And look upon is different than a way that a human would look upon it. It's more like, we would say look upon because that's what humans would understand, but it's more like we would expand our energy fields to encompass that frequency and to blend in to what was occurring. And because we resonate to a high frequency of the Arcturians, then when we see that there are those that are in trouble and have asked, because Gaia is a free will planet, and if the members of Gaia do not ask for assistance, then we do not have permission to interfere with that planet. And more humanities have been asking for assistance from ourselves, the Arcturians, from the Pleiadians, from the Antareans, and from the Venusians. And this is because humans are beginning to realize that they are not the most evolved creatures in all of humanity. They might be the most evolved creatures on the planet Earth, which is the third dimensional planet, and they are third dimensional beings. And they are realizing through their meditations and through doing good works and through studying that, yes, humans can move into those higher frequencies of consciousness as well. And one of the things that is an important component of moving into those higher frequencies is to allow one's imagination, which is fifth-dimensional thought, to go to how does it feel on Venus? How does it feel in the Pleiades? How does it feel on Arcturus? How does it feel in being in a starship? What occurs if you allow your imagination to move into these higher frequencies? It expands your brain power. if people just always ate food that didn't have a lot of nutrition, they wouldn't be very healthy, and their growth would be stunted, and their thoughts wouldn't be as clear, and they wouldn't have as good a memory or ability to learn. And it's the same thing with planets. Planets, they need to be fed. They need to be fed with love and with light and with the assistance of humanity. There has been times in which humanity, such as Chernobyl when they had that horrible thing, or the world wars, or the bomb testing where they blew up atolls just to see if their bombs were good enough. These were dark, dark nights for Gaia, and they really wounded Gaia. But humans were not yet, at least those humans, were not yet able to think that the planet was a living being. And we needed to treat it like a living being. And fortunately, humanity is beginning to grow up. Humanity is beginning to remember their dreams. They're beginning to seek out quote unquote science fiction books, which are really very often science fact. They will begin to expand their ability to activate more and more areas of their brain.
Thank you so much for explaining a little bit about your origins and about what is happening currently on Gaia. And thank you for being here to answer some of the questions that we have been receiving from listeners in the past couple of days. So with that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into the first couple of questions here. So the first question is from a listener that wants to know about feeling trapped in small spaces, having panic attacks, and being able to see these experiences as a lesson. And along with that, being able to recognize when she is getting assistance from her galactic family.
Trapped in small spaces and having that create a panic attack, it's a lost memory. It's a memory of something similar to that either you've had in various dreams, and if you've had that in various dreams, it could be that that's something from another lifetime, or something that you experienced when you were on a starship and something happened that wasn't very good on the starship. And if you can not label it a bad dream, but label it, okay, I'm ready to look at this and I'm ready to release it because I don't like that feeling. And now how will I get out of that feeling? Well, I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask inside myself. And also one thing that we, the Arcturians, recommend is that you keep a journal and you write down what's going on in your life. And you're going to find a lot of solutions to issues just by, wait, didn't I have something like that? I'm going to check out my journal and see what happened and how did I get through at that time? Because people usually have the same issues over and over until that issue gets resolved. And the reason why you have those issues over and over is because the resolution of that issue that's come on to you over and over, when you resolve it, you feel really strong. You feel really positive. Wow, I figured that one out. That was good. Or, yeah, I found this really great therapist and the therapist found me, or I started taking these walks in the woods, or, but write down what your solutions were. So later on, if you have a regression, you can pull out one of those books and see, oh, okay, now this time, the last time this happened, this is what I did.
Yes, that is immensely helpful. And I would add that if it seems like that assistance isn't being provided, it's there. And at least from my personal experience, it comes about releasing expectation of how you think that assistance will appear, and just to have that open mind about it. Because sometimes when you're trapped in those fear states, it's not that you're not being helped, but it's that your focus is on a particular event or emotion or memory. And sometimes that can be very subconscious. So being able to stay open even in those experiences of great emotion or great distress is difficult, but it can be helpful too.
Yes, thank you for adding that. That's important for sure.
All right. So the next question, and this touches back onto what you, the Arcturians, were talking about as far as free will goes, but intervening in human affairs, helping to stop the cruelty. And we have things happening in the world like the children in Yemen right now who are starving. We have so many, the children in cages. There are so many different events happening, and so people are wondering, how are our galactic families helping to intervene in those areas, or if they can?
Well, the way that the galactics are intervening is that they go into the awakened humans' thoughts and dreams, because the ones that aren't awakened, they're not ready yet to receive that information. And at least not from a dream or from a galactic being. Because if they're worried about the information, they want to at least hear it from a fellow human. And so as a human has moved through an experience, if they could share that experience, starting from, oh, I was really scared by, or this was really difficult, and share that, yes, I too have had these types of situations, and this is a way that I found that I can move through that situation. And perhaps you find ways that you could talk to me about how you could move through that situation. And so then it becomes just a conversation.
So what you're saying is that it's not, so that is how you are assisting in these kinds of difficult areas, is that it's still the human's responsibility to
Yes.
actually solve what is occurring, but we aren't doing that alone. We have that higher dimensional assistance, even though we can't see it directly. Is that what you're saying here?
Yes, the Arcturians and the Galadians and the other galactic beings, they assist the people who are the assisters. Because the people that are not the assisters, they may not, it might be just too much information for them. Especially if they're going to receive it from somebody they can't even see.
Absolutely. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This goes into a little bit about first contact. So I would really like to know the reasons on why the Galactics won't make their full-fledged appearances and land and greet everyone. So this is something that I know you have touched on in previous videos, but maybe you'd like to talk a little bit about how that first contact kind of works. It's not as direct as what you've said before as people might imagine it to be.
First contact basically occurs within the consciousness of the human. That's really what first contact is. And that's how they test and see whether or not that person is ready. So if that person has a dream, and they think that it's a cool dream and they can't wait to share it with their friends, and they want to, write it down and maybe put it on a blog somewhere, or then they know, the galactics know, now this is a person that they can feed this information to. But if a person looks up and says, "Oh no, oh no, what is that in the sky? This is really scary. I've got to go get my guns." Okay, no, this is not a person that is ready. They're not ready. They're still stuck within that fear-based, I'm going to get revenge, or I'm afraid I have to stop you, third dimensional. And they will send love and light at whatever moment that person, even if that person just has 5 minutes where they just go, "Oh, wow, it feels good to not be angry and scared." Then they just come in like gangbusters and, love and light, love and light. Yes, you've got it. This is it. This is the key. Go for it. Do it. So it's like an athlete that, is trying to run across the line, They're cheering. Yes, that's it. Go, go, go. And if the athlete falls down, they go, "Oh, no, but get up. Okay, come on, get up, get up." And they're assisting. And when people assist others, they just expect that others are going to assist them. And they're right, they do. Because energy out is energy back.
Yes. Yes, that is a wonderful answer. And as you've said, it is based on the consciousness. And so if we look at the world as a whole right now, about how much fear is in the collective consciousness, as you have said before, it wouldn't be helpful just to pop a bunch of ships into the air, because some people would be really excited and then other nations or people would be a little bit too afraid or a little bit too angry about some situation like that.
And worse yet, they'd come out with their weapons. So that would be the worst case. Because what goes up comes down. So they'd end up hurting themselves as well.
Our next question that we have is, how does someone personally connect with the Arcturians, or how do they figure out who their star family is?
One of the things that people don't realize is that everybody creates a perceptual field. And that perceptual field, that's like the field of reality that they choose to focus their perceptions on. Yourself will listen to your own higher self. Because if you're talking to a tree or a bird or something like that, you're really talking to your higher self, or talking through your higher self.
I like that. So it sounds like in order to start really connecting with our star families, it always is going to go through that higher component of ourselves.
Yes. And remember that if you don't document it in some way, or if you don't share it with anybody, then it becomes like a secret instead of an exciting adventure.
And this is something that I've experienced when connecting, is that it gets really hard in the 3D mind to let go of the details and the specifics, because we are so focused on finding like the exact answer, the exact name, the exact place, and so when we can let that go and just get to the core of, okay, I'm ready to connect with an open heart and an open mind, and I know that the details and the questions that I'm curious about, those will come into me through a flow, and I don't have to force anything to happen. So being able to let go is a really important component of that process, is what I have personally found, for anyone that might benefit from that.
Absolutely. Let go. Just let go. And allow the solution to come in.
Wonderful. All right. So this is a add-on to that last question. This is about starships and synchronicities. So as of late, people have been seeing those synchronicities increase along with the starships. It seems like they see a ship and then they get more synchronicities, or they have a higher dimensional experience and then more synchronicities happen. So can you talk a little bit about maybe what a synchronicity is and why these start occurring when we open up to the ships?
Well, what's occurring is that people are actually activating a larger percentage of their brain. As humans have many possible ways to think and to act and abilities, but if they don't feel it, then they won't know that it's there. But sometimes if you are around that situation that you're thinking, oh, I can't do that, and you see that the other person can do that, then that can encourage you. But it can also make, oh, I can't do it as good as that person, and so I'm not going to try. But then you hear yourself quitting. If you want something, ask for it, think about it, and allow it to come in. The realities kind of hang together. The people that, aren't very kind and take and steal and, fight with each other, they all stay together, and the people that are loving and kind and caring, they all stay together. So there is choices. Gaia is a free will planet, and so there's a polarity of choices.
So it sounds like those synchronicities happen based off of the choices that we make, whether they are higher frequency kinds of decisions or actions, or maybe of a lower frequency.
Yes, absolutely. And those choices have a lot to do with people's background and, what they went through and whether or not they were able to heal themselves if they needed to be healed, or if they were able to listen to their dream and to do what they needed to do to be able to fulfill that dream. And that's where, the humans have these choices. And one of the most difficult things for a human is to not believe that they have a choice. Then they're a victim. Then they're just a victim to life. And that does not feel good at all.